The day began in Oceanside, Long Island. The hearse and a funeral procession carrying Detective Luis Alvarez drove beneath a U.S. flag hung from hook and ladder trucks to Astoria, Queens.
He grew up in this neighborhood. Everybody that he loved was here. His voice and his legacy will live on.
And remembrances from people who knew him well for his advocacy.
Louis could have spent his last days and weeks and hours with his family and loved ones. He chose to spend it making it a difference.
Alvarez, an NYPD narcotics and bomb squad veteran, had spent 3 months at Ground Zero and contracted cancer. Before Congress last month, he called for the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund to be fully funded in testimony with comedian and activist Jon Stewart. Today, Stewart was among mourners on hand, as was the police commissioner.
And all Lou wanted in return was to have his government recognize the labor and pain of his brothers and sisters by making sure they're taken care of medically when they fall ill.
Alvarez's family was heavily involved in the mass, from nieces and nephews ushering to his sister, who spoke as Alvarez's son supported her. She said her brother spent his last night alive walking, short of breath, looking for other first responders to help, he'd said.
Fidelis ad mortem, faithful unto death.
She got a standing ovation for invoking the NYPD's motto. Full honors, including a triple flyover, were given as a farewell to Detective Luis Alvarez, but his legacy of helping 9/11 victims lives on.
And when it is done, it'll be to a large extent because of Lou Alvarez.
And thanks in no small part to Luis Alvarez's testimony, both houses of Congress now have a vote on tap with bipartisan support to fund victims' compensation for 70 more years. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll talk about efforts to name such a fund after Alvarez, at least in part. Reporting live from Astoria, Queens, I'm James Ford, Pix 11 News.